Hello and welcome to a very special episode of Let's Playtest Apocalypse Saga. Today I will be showing you some of the actual gameplay as of right now. Now, as most of you who have RPG Maker VX Ace installed on your computers can tell, this is not a default theme. I'll have it posted in the description, but I can't remember the title of the music pack off the top of my head, so just bear with me. Alright. And sure, let's show the intro. Why not? What is hell? A world of post-mortem retribution? An afterlife in a furnace that burns away all sin? No, it's none of these. Hell is here and now. Let me tell you about my experience with hell. You'll be surprised how horrific it gets. My name is Stella, and this is the story of the apocalypse. Alright. So, Phoenix Elris 93, if you're watching, brace yourself, because this is markedly different from any roleplays you may be familiar with. This is a personal rearrange of mine of a piece by Andrew Hussie. You may recognize it from Homestuck. All credit to this theme goes to Andrew Hussie. I do not own anything except maybe this rearrange, but that's a different story. Anyway, I think I'll pass on the control scheme. But yeah. So basically, what we've got here is Stella Nihira, a utility character. Hang on, the volume is way too loud. Ow. Okay. Anyway, Stella is a utility character. He learns probably the widest array of heavily damaging moves in the game, as well as 4 of the 10 best buffing skills in the game. Due to this wide moveset, he'll take on a lot of roles over the course of the game. However, he is something of a glass cannon, which means his primary role for most of it will be as a DPS. In other words, to deal as much damage as possible in as little time as possible. You're going to want to keep an eye on this guy's hit points, and if you want to repurpose him, make sure he can take a hit or two. Okay, yeah. So, a lot of the events are told in first person. And if you try to get back in the bed, the game will yell at you. Nothing to examine here, except maybe the fireplace. Which just calls you Captain Obvious. There's something up here that we can't get to. The room in here... How the event there goes depends on how quickly you leave the first floor. If you talk to this guy before leaving the first floor, the next few sequences will go slightly differently. But the end result will basically be the same. Now, meet the possessed piano. Whatever's possessing that piano is pretty darn good. And if we go downstairs, we immediately run into Felicia Taikura, aka Tai. Who, as you can guess, is somewhat cheerful. She's also a painful extrovert. But anyway, here she explains that people heading home from this place have been getting attacked by something unseen in the forest. Whatever it is eluding all detection. The most recent incident took place the night before. And a magicite. That is something Final Fantasy has. In Apocalypse Saga is basically crystallized magic. But a magicite-assisted wide area scan found no sign he was ever there. No body, no signs of a struggle, no signs of trying to camp out, nothing. Just vanished, without a trace. And as our protagonist knows, those things are freaking powerful. So they definitely should have found something with a scan like that. As for ways around it, the only people attacked were going on their own. No reports of groups being attacked. I think you can guess where this is going. Yep. And given Stalnihira does not have pleasant experiences of hearing Tai talk, he's not sure he can trust her. But eventually accepts on the condition that his best friend and that friend's sister have to join too. And Tai jokingly throws out the idea that Stell may be in love with someone, which Stell immediately shoots down. Yeah, tutorial on Tai. She is a blue mage, which for those of you unfamiliar with Final Fantasy terminology means she learns most of her skills by taking a hit from them when her opponents use them. This can make her either the most useful or the least useful member of the team, depending on what she learns. So you'll want to learn a lot. The only problem is, she has to learn them by taking a hit from them. Which, considering most of those moves are damaging moves, could make things hard on you. So she actually has a tank-like build, and an even more tank-like moveset. So you're going to want to take good advantage of that, or she could die on the job. And you pretty much have to go through this event. This is the event that goes different ways depending on whether you talk to Tai before entering here or not. Obviously, Tai does not like being formal. Elbow to the ribcage. I'm going to be using that gag a lot. Huge indication of what his role will be. Case in point, that's twice before the scene it's introduced in is even over. So yeah, something recently found in the library. Here's a key point. A hero works part-time at a local guild. Let's see, it's an old spellbook, battered and beaten, clearly ancient, title, The Power of Armageddon, and a quick look at its contents reveals the most advanced magic he's ever seen documentation for, and the fact that it's a magic type that this area doesn't even teach. Because I don't consider it safe for public use. We're tasked with figuring out what the book means and how it got here. And I've pretty much examined all the events worth examining here. So let's go down to this floor. Meet Stella Nihira's roommate, Hiroshi from Aoni. He looks a little odd in his face sprite because RPG Maker's face set generator outright sucks. And yeah, Tai is pretty loud. Something that isn't really captured in the text-based dialogue. So if we go in here, we find plates and silverware extremely well organized, almost as if they'd never been touched since day one. The sink is spotless, as if it had been just installed. Whoever's in charge of cleaning is clearly doing a good job. Either that or has OCD. Whatever the case, it's paying off. But the oven is running, so clearly the cleaning service isn't perfect. And I probably need to edit that, because that makes it seem like he's unable to turn off an oven. But here's something out of place. Very neatly organized, but it's clearly a wine rack. This is supposed to be a high school's dormitory. So, this is something that clearly shouldn't be here. That's clearly not a desk. I need to edit that event after this. Anything in here? I can't remember. Oh, nothing. Other than another fireplace that calls you Captain Obvious for examining it. Alright. Let's go to the library. Here we find people doing some last-minute studying for a summer semester. Now, brace yourself, because here's where the Katawa Shoujo cameos start. Meet Shizune Hakamichi. Who, as Ahira points out, and anyone who's played Katawa Shoujo knows, is deaf. And this guy definitely overstates it, but he doesn't want to mess with her either, because once you get past the language barrier that is sign language, you find that she's manipulative and does not like being second banana. Now, if you try to leave the room, you'll notice this girl will follow you with her gaze. But if you try to approach her, she will turn away. Our protagonist decides not to mess with her because he does not like scaring people. here, there's a girl neurotically organizing the bookshelves, and another Katawa Shoujo cameo, who our protagonist has obviously startled, much to his chagrin. This girl will also follow your gaze. But I'm going to examine the book first. Anyone who's played Katawa Shoujo should guess who this character is just by the title of it. Yeah. Those of you who haven't guessed it already, I'm gonna give you the answer. It's Hanako Ikizawa. All credit for both the Katawa Shoujo characters appearing here goes to Mike Enel and the entire development team for Katawa Shoujo. I do not own these characters in any way, except for maybe their movesets in Apocalypse Saga, but that's a completely different story. You can actually recruit Hanako later, so there is actually value in returning here. And since I'm running this from the editor, like, oh, what? Jesus. Black Mage JT picks the wrong times. Anyway, since I'm playing this from the editor, I can hold control and whoop, I can go through walls. I'll be using this to hasten the playthrough so that it doesn't go too long. Anyway, over here we have a girl too focused on her reading to socialize. Reading a book of advanced healing magic. But over here, you'll see a girl in a black hood reading something. Obviously, the black hood goes against this place's dress code, so this is naturally one of the places you examine. She definitely looks young. But why is she concealing her face? Take a look at what she's reading. The same book we were given earlier on. So this person is now the most suspicious one here. Over there is what looks like a set of spells for you to learn, or something to get, but is in fact a red herring, because it's too advanced for Tai, and none of these spells will be helpful for what you have in mind. However, this book is wide open and teaches both of your characters something. Anyway, I'm gonna go through here because unless you control lock, as Black Mage GT calls it, there's no other way to get here except through the lower floor. There's no events worth examining in there. And this guy gives Tai a look landing somewhere between annoying and hostile. An indication of how loud she is and the nature of this place. Right now, we're in probably the world's biggest library. Loud voices in libraries do not mix. Anyway, nothing in here. But over here, we have a little discussion that we wind up walking in on. Excuse me. We get the impression that Stell's ability set is relatively unique. Not relatively unique. There's no such thing as relatively unique. Grr! And these guys will follow you with their gaze. Now that we've examined everything over here, let's go up here. Go to the staircase for now. Let's go in here. We don't know what's going on over here, but she's probably practicing some passive charm over here. And we decide not to interrupt. Good luck getting the character to do otherwise. Anyway, up here, we can't talk to that guy just yet. This is actually an item that will be very useful in recruiting a character later on. And that's 2 chimes. I need to fix that. There should only be 1 chime. Anyway, if you try to go back behind here, the game will yell at you. This will happen a lot in shop stalls, where if you try to go behind the counter, the game will yell at you. Anyway, we show the book to the librarian. He doesn't recall seeing it anywhere in the archives. A quick check reveals that it isn't in the archives at all, and that the owner may have brought this one here to set up their own style. Now, they would probably not be happy when they find out that it's left behind, so guess what? We have to find them and return it. Just like a fetch quest. Which is exactly the kind of thing that our protagonist hates. Control walk. Alright. I pretty much examined everything worth examining here. Anyway, all the other doors in this area are locked, so yeah. This guy is one of our recruits. Yeah, let's give a tutorial on Dante. Yeah. He's basically a magic knight, or mystic knight, for those of you more familiar with Final Fantasy terminology. What he can do is add elemental augmentations to his basic attack and weapon-based attacks. Naturally, given the engine, this ability pool is weapon dependent. Heavily so. So once you get access to weapons that teach abilities like that, you want to experiment a lot. Oh yeah, and Dante can also manipulate his own stat balancing. So now is where, depending on who you got first, you get an indication on where the other is. Since we've already checked the library to death, the only place left to check is the practice arena. And of course, Tai is losing her patience. So let's go here. So yeah, we've got ourselves what amounts to a psychic. This is actually a tricky genre of magic. She learns telepathy, which makes her a good evasion tank. She learns a lot of debuffing skills, and even learns some healing magic. But she uses a bow and arrow, and does not like being forced into CQC. Which technically can't happen in a game that's made with RPG Maker, but whatever. Right now she's a healer, but as the game wears on, she will be a far better debuffer. Okay, and now we're at an exposition dump. This is nothing we haven't heard before. Excuse me. I don't know what's going on with me today. But yeah, we get a little bit of detail into the personalities of each character here. I'm still developing it, you ding-dong! How many people use that insult, for crying out loud? Who calls someone a ding-dong these days? Nobody! Yeah, Zoe is something of a pessimist. And here we are outside. What the hell? Lag! Oh yeah, save crystals. These will be extremely useful. Hang on. I need to close down this Word document. Because I have a feeling that's the main source of the lag. Either that or one of my 20 or 30 Internet Explorer tabs. Tough luck convincing me to use anything other than Internet Explorer as my regular. I'm looking at you, Black Mage JT. Anyway, save crystals. Not only do they allow you to save your game outside of the overworld, but they fully heal you when you interact with them. Now, dungeons may be long enough to require multiple save crystals, but they're pretty few and far between. So, you don't want to miss them. Anyway, I'll save over that file since... Yeah, okay, anyway. Here we are! And of course, since this is the overworld, we can't run. That's what happens when you try to go south too early. Someone wants us to stay put. Specifically the game developer, but the game's not going to tell you that part. Ah! Alright, so... there's a mountain range that way, which is blocking passage. So pretty much the only option is to go through here. Which basically means we're not going to be able to back out. Ah! That's the earliest I've ever had a random encounter. Okay, these guys teach the first of Tide's blue magic. So you'll want to provoke her first thing. No, 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 no. Attack Tide, damn you. Thank you. Now be careful, because when an entire formation of 4 of these things gangs up on a character, if they're not guarding, you can kiss that character goodbye. So once you've got Goblin Punch in your arsenal, you don't want to waste your time with these guys. Yeah, that's actually about twice the damage that Stell's basic attack does. And it's AE, so we get the impression that this guy's badass right off the bat. Yeah. Aside from Blink and Invis, he basically has a power-based moveset. Alpha, steal hit points and inflict poison. Beta, fire damage. Gamma, storm damage, which is basically lightning. And paralysis. Delta, water damage and offensive debuff. Zeta, ice damage and freeze them in place. Now, Still actually starts with one of his buffers, and funnily enough, it's one of the few of the top 10 best buffers in the game that's self-only. But it boosts the caster's strength and makes it so that they basically critical hit every other time they land an attack. As for Spellblade, he has Barrier Breaker, which is basically a basic attack that ignores defense, and nothing for Summon, Mind, Aura, or Drive, but the fact that he has those indicates that he will get moves for those later. Anyway, so he has Charge, and 2 offensive balance shifters. Libra, which reads the opposing team for stats and weaknesses. I haven't invented the random encounters for this yet, but this will be extremely useful for the bosses. She has Final Fantasy Healing, Cure 1, and Stun, which is basically single target paralyze. She doesn't have anything for mine yet, but that will change once she hits level 3. Now Dante, Charge, Lunge. This is where most of his balance shifters are. And aside from maybe the Alchemist job, he's the only one to know all 8 of these moves. And he starts with Dispel, which will be very useful during the second event battle. In his Spellblade set, he also has Barrier Breaker, but he also has Drain Slash, which is basically a Vampiric Blade buff. He slashes at an enemy and steals their hit points instead of just blowing it away. Now, Tai has Charge, Lunge, Force Breath, which is AE damage with no elemental tag, Blink, Provoke, which draws all enemy fire towards her. This isn't perfectly reliable, as I've found out in previous playtests. And one of the moves she learned from the library, Astra, which, to those of you who are familiar with Final Fantasy, prevents a single instance of negative status. Now, the engine wouldn't let me do this, so it's basically immunity to status until the turn ends. Now, here's where most of her abilities will be. She already knew Steel Skin, which is basically an amped up guard that lasts for 3 turns. And this is Goblin Punch, which deals 6 hits, and is basically death by 1,000 cuts. This is actually one of the more badass moves, to the point that I actually had to nerf it. Now, stats. Clearly not the most defensively based character, but Steel Skin is a good boost. That is the highest strength stat of any of our characters so far. That will change over the course of the game. Clearly magic based. I'm thinking I need to buff the bow and arrow set, because that is not what I would call good offensive stats. And for our protagonist, we have the quintessential glass cannon sub-fragile speedster. This guy will almost always strike first, due to his ridiculous speed, and packs a wallop too. The catch, he can't take the pain that he deals. However, as you can tell, he's a dual wielder, and uses that to good effect. He also has the single highest magic point total in the entire game. So that's a plus. Oh yeah, braces. Only Stella and Dante can equip those, but you'll want to equip the first set on pastel because of his glass cannon nature, so that he can actually take a few hits. And I've gotten another random encounter. Oh, come on! Don't screw with me, random number generator. Don't screw with me like this. Thank you. Right. Oh boy! I'm not even gonna waste my time with this one. Beta! Right now, this is its single most powerful move. As you can tell by the fact that it's doing a lot more damage than Delta did. Oh, shut up! Oh boy. Don't even try to run from these guys. Because their basic attack poisons, and if you fail to run, chances are one of your characters is going to get poisoned. Considering you only have 6 antidotes at this point, there's not much room for error. And also, I start you off with a revival item for a very good reason. The bosses are tough. In fact, they're probably the hardest part of the game. Take a Zeta to the face, you bastards! Yeah. Oh! And it's another set of braces. Let's give that to Dante. Also, control walking will save you from the random encounters, but only if you're working from the editor. Oh, holy crap. Up. No. Not dealing with you right now. Oh, weapons upgrade. You'll want to equip that on Zoe right now, because that actually gives her decent strength and power. And with my luck, enemy encounter any minute. Yep, called it. No. Not dealing with you. Screw it. I may as well demonstrate his entire moveset while I'm here. Oh yeah, Zoe hasn't learned that yet. Okay. And both of these use the basic attack animation, so aside from their effects, there's not much to demonstrate. Yeah, Alpha should be doing a lot more damage, but since it's a hit point theft move, it will only deal as much damage as the opponent has hit points. Not dealing with you right now. Come to think of it, I'm not even entirely sure if running away increases the chances of an enemy encounter occurring. Doesn't seem to at the moment. But yeah, you'll be thanking Skull's insane speed. Yeah. You'll be thanking me for giving Skull such insane speed. Because it makes the encounters here ridiculously easy. Oh! Right at the save crystal! Now, I'm actually going to do a little bit more leveling right here within easy access of the save crystal. Oh! Beta! Yeah! Beta! Screw you! And there we go. What we have now is a priority move, an AE version of Cure, the perfect evasion tank buff, a basic attack that does more damage, and AE healing that depends on how full your hit points engage are. Alright. Ah! Stupid control lock! Alright, now here is where the encounters stop until the boss shows up. Now, you'll notice another barrier is in place. Now, you'll be wondering who this is. He'll show his face in a minute. Those of you familiar with Ardwick of Onet's Airship Madness series are probably going to guess what the guy's name is. But take note that his appearance is completely different. Because, again, RPG Maker's character creator, built-in, sucks. Which is actually why I have another version installed down here. Okay. Yep. That looks nothing like Exotria. But that's the Apocalypse Saga interpretation of his face. Now, he's crazy and thinks that he's met our protagonist somewhere before, but he's just too insane to be convinced otherwise. Factually or no. Oh, epic threat. Go back to whatever insane asylum you've broken out of before we send you to the local morgue. Owned! You can guess where this is going. Now here's where I'll start introducing Mew. 40,000 hit points, and he's the first boss! That's not just a testament to how hard the bosses are going to be. That's a testament to how much damage output you can do relatively early on. And you don't even have to get rid of all this. You only have to get rid of half of that. Now here's where heal is a necessity. Now, you want to provoke Tai because this guy knows something that she can learn. Boom! The random number generator actually works in my favor today. Oh! That's not who I expected to get a critical hit from. Now you'll be wondering why I'm switching her role. You'll see why as soon as I select. Look how much damage that did! Now he will use the same moveset in the same order on a 5-turn loop, no matter what you do. No matter how many times you fight him, he will always use the same 5-turn loop. So, you may be wondering why I healed with Tai when he might use another move entirely the next turn. Well, he doesn't! He will use the same insanely damaging move twice in a row during the end of his 5-turn AI loop. Oh! What do you mean evaded attack? That's the fourth breath turn. That's the Drain Touch turn, which means I'm gonna want to switch Tai to Kurisa during the next one. Oh, and Dante's buff has just worn off. I'm gonna want to recast that one. Yeah, the amount of damage Zoe's taking makes me think that she might actually die once over the course of this. Shut up! Now you notice that Tai's actually taking more damage. This is because Annihilate ignores the defense stats. Oh boy! Now we're gonna want to recast Muse since the fight didn't end there. And all the while, he will still be hitting us with all of his attacks. Shut up. There we go. And you'll want to heal up here. Because, unbeknownst to you, Exotria actually shows up as a random encounter for this sequence. And I will show you why you must run from this. Barrier Breaker, Libra, Barrier Breaker, Fake Attack. Barrier Breaker does no damage. That's saying something for a move that ignores defenses. And Libra is scrambled. No other boss is going to do this. So yeah, you pretty much gotta run. But this isn't the kind of random encounter that RPG Maker defaults to. No. I manually set up an event to shuffle around other events to simulate random encounters. And I find it a lot more random than RPG Maker's random encounters. Especially since you could fight two of the guy without having to take a step. Yep. That's the double encounter. Ah! Can't even take 5 steps. I'm so close! I'm so close to the exit! Oh, thank you. Ah! Why? Ah! And it's another double encounter. Release shift? Oh! Ah! At the exit! Why? Why? How evil am I? I take it back. That random number generator hates me. What is that? The fourth? What is that? The third? The fourth double encounter? I've lost count. I think I need to nerf this. There we go. Whew. So yeah, here we are. Our protagonist's home. There's an inn right there, but there's also a save crystal in another part of the town, so we don't want to waste our money here. We do want to go to the item shop. Don't waste your money on the Phoenix Den. You get a lot of those at the next dungeon. we are officially bankrupt. I stand corrected. We were bankrupt. And of course we can't sell the key items, because that would break story events. And there's nothing of worth in any of the houses. In fact, 3 of them are locked. And there's our save crystal. Now, a lot of the characters I put here are with default sprites. This one stands out in that she doesn't have a default sprite. Moreover, that's not a default face set. Anyone who's played Chrono Trigger should probably recognize this theme. And that guy's just useless right now. Alright. Now. Yep. Good luck trying to get something here. And there's another possessed piano over there. It plays the same tune, so there's no point in examining that. There's an inn here, which is being used, obviously. And good luck talking to this kid. But, yeah, that guy's an asshole. That girl just is off in her own little world. The girl over here who will actively try to flirt with you. And this guy is grumbling about something. Something that implies that he just lost his job. So the only one left to examine here is this guy, who, as it turns out, is the head of the guild that Hiro works for. And yes, news travels freakishly fast around here. I'll give you a hint. This other survivor is the only one here with a non-default sprite, aside from the character you're playing as. So now we're tasked with interrogating this person for clues as to how we can take Exotria down. No escort mission, no fetch quest, not for this one at least. You pretty much have to accept. Because it's the only way to advance the storyline. So let's talk to this guy again, and a cutscene ensues. Or at least my equivalent of it. Holy crap, I've been recording for almost an hour. That does not bode well. Basically, in order to beat him, we have to disable him from using his power, which amounts to defying the laws of physics. Naturally, this character has nothing that could possibly do the job. And I've just noticed a consistency error. I'm going for an uncensored version. I need to fix that after this. But, as Ahira bluntly points out here, we're clearly at a disadvantage. But, guess who decides to show up again? Yeah. And everyone flees. And our new friend here decides that she wants to have a last hurrah. Awkward phrasing that I need to fix in that one. Alright. Guess who? For those of you that haven't already guessed, there's your hint. Yeah. And there's a very good reason you want her in your party. One that I will demonstrate right now. Look at this! Almost all of that's due to her equipment. Look at this. I really need to fix that on her because if you have this kind of equipment this early on, you're pretty much broken the game. Oh yeah, and the God Hand teaches Ultra, which is a freakishly powerful move of the most destructive element available. She has Charge and Lunge. She has Great Blade and Drain Slash. She has Ultra from the God Hand. Bravery, which is AE Strength Boost. Faith was just AE Magic Attack Boost. Protect, which is AE Defense Boost. Shell, which is AE Resistance Boost. And Haste, which is AE Agility Boost and Extra Turn. This is awesome. So yeah. You'll really want this character in your party. For a reason that Libra will reveal to you. I'm gonna start the fight slightly differently. Haste. Yeah, he has a different moveset this time, but he still maintains the double annihilate at the end of it. And it's still in a 5-turn loop. And he now has 75,000 hit points. It's almost double what he had last time. Yep, he already has tier 3 healing, and he's the first boss rematched. And I know Haste will last for 5 turns. I think all of the Traveler's other buffs will last for 5 turns as well. I'd have to check to confirm that. But yeah, these buffs will stack. Oh, he attacked Zoe, who had telepathy active. Boo freaking yeah! Also, you'll notice that the Traveler's magic point total is going down pretty quickly. But yeah, he's about to use his double annihilate. And again, annihilate ignores the defense stats, so the Traveler may actually take more damage than Dante and be at lower hit points afterwards. But yeah, the strength stat paid off. Her base attack, her Great Blade just did 2k damage. And that was without a critical hit. Okay, the random number generator is being a pain because I'm getting a lot more critical hits than I usually get, but I'm also getting a lot more of the random encounters that I usually get. Oh yeah. Remember Mighty Guard? He's gonna use that again. Alright. What? That should have dispelled Mighty Guard. What happened? Is a random number generator still being a pain? From here you can pretty much gauge what turn you're on based on the Traveler's magic point total. Oh jeez, that's gonna be a problem. Hail didn't bring Stout back to full hit points. I anticipate he's going to get done for sooner or later. Ah! Well, there's no point in reviving him at this point. I pretty much have the battle lost. And that's gonna happen no matter what you do. You'll see why come turn 11. Where Zotra completely breaks protocol. And hits you with a move that you don't know what it is, resembles his basic attack in the notification, and is not part of his 5-turn loop. Yeah, look at that! He will always use that over the course of the fight, and you saw how much damage it was doing. There's no way for you to survive that. Even the Traveler's pretty much toast. And proper chasing. Save crystal doesn't work, all the doors are locked, so don't even try to enter. Oh, my phone's ringing. Hang on. Missed the call. Probably want to return it. I'll be right back. Well, I'm back. Yeah, one thing led to another. I tried to return my friend's call. And as soon as that call was done, my parents summoned me for dinner, so... Yeah, Anyway. The story so far, you probably haven't had the chance to forget. But basically, yeah, we need to find better weaponry in order to leave the house. Case in point. What's going on with me today? Alright. Another fireplace. This one won't yell at you for being Captain Obvious. And I'm basically going straight to where the weapons are concealed. Alright. Oh yeah. And we're just kind of throwing this information out of nowhere. The Armageddon Empire is a group of people led by someone who believes that the world they're in, titled Omega, is fatally flawed because people can die. Whatever the case, he wants to replace Omega with something designed in his own image. Which basically amounts to destroying Omega as the characters know it. So let's save. Yeah. Here's the guild. This control walk so we can see what the maid's doing. That's actually one of the most intricate movement AIs I've built. She even opens and closes a door, for crying out loud. And I control walk because if you try to regular walk, you'll run into this event. Which I need to shift to first person because... Right. And this person is not important right now, but she will be in a minute. And you can talk to all these guys, but the only route that actually advances the story is talking to this guy. Crap, the volume is way too loud. Jesus. And another exposition dump of information we've already gotten. Until we get to here. Our protagonist here thinks that Exotra may be connected to this Armageddon Empire in some way. So we're assigned a next step of finding someone with definite connections to the Empire and interrogating them. Here's where the power of Armageddon shows up in the important files. Which happens to be the school that our protagonist just left. And here's where the hooded girl comes in as well. If you don't talk to her, this event will go slightly differently, but the end result is basically the same. So basically, if our little culprit is still there, we're to interrogate her for details regarding Exotria's weak points. If she's not there, we're to find her, whatever the cost. Oh yeah, and meantime, this is where that girl in the other room comes into play. He hates escort missions and fetch quests. You get that impression just from his dialogue. Why am I coughing so much? Anyway, let's go talk to her, and we'll realize something very crucial. It's another Katawa Shoujo cameo. Meet Lily Sato, the first of the recruitable Katawa Shoujo cameos. I did my best in trying to get into her character for these sequences, but you guys can tell me if I did a good job at that. Anyway, all credit for Lily Sato goes to the developers at 4-Leaf Studio. I do not own anything, except maybe her Apocalypse Saga moveset, but that's a different story entirely. And I've also given her hearing something of a buff. These walls are supposed to be soundproof, despite this little gap here. Yet Lily clearly heard the voices of these 4 people through them. So yeah. Elbow to the ribs. Yeah. Yeah. I'm actually with a hero on this one. Other senses tend to get boosted to compensate for a missing one. And this game will actually assume that Lily's arc in Katawa Shoujo has happened. So guess who she's trying to find? Have you guessed? Good. If not, then too bad. Time's up. I think I'm overusing the elbow to the ribs. Ah, quirks. That's a nice way of putting it, I'd say. Obviously, someone's in agreement with me. Now, considering that in Katawa Shoujo, Hisao Nakai enjoys the sciences, and in one particular arc even is seen in a chemistry class, I figured that alchemy wouldn't be too much of a stretch. All characters appearing in Katawa Shoujo are not my intellectual property. All credit to them goes to 4-Leaf Studios. I own nothing. And anyway, here's where we drop the hard question. And we find that Lily is just as clueless as we are. She did find a small piece of paper which has a note on it, which of course she can't read since it's not in Braille. It basically points us to a location where we can find him. And of course, it's an unrecognizable signature, just because. The Traveler recognizes it, though. And of course, our psychically generated barrier that we encountered earlier is going to be a problem, considering that it's blocking the only way towards the direction we know Nakai is. Or, excuse me, quote-unquote, know where he is. Yeah. Considering what these guys have been through, yeah, we probably don't want to start them on that topic. So let's save. And I've been recording for nearly an hour and a half. Thank you all so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. I'd be nowhere if you didn't. And above all, hope you enjoy my escapades. I hope to see you in the next video. Goodbye!